Post-acquisition or post-merger integration is a complex dynamic process implemented to realize value when one business acquires or merges with another. The expected synergies from project initiatives include all cost savings and revenue enhancements that managers expect to capture through the integration. For example, expected cost savings might include removing duplicate offices or production facilities. Expected revenue enhancements might include cross-selling products and services. As the integration progresses, the synergy realization rate is the pace at which the synergies are captured. The synergy realization rate is partly determined by the integration progress rate, which itself is based on the number of staff working on the project and their productivity. Also, the expected synergies from initiatives provides an upper bound on the progress rate. These relationships close a balancing feedback loop capturing synergies, whereby the process of realizing synergies drains the stock of expected synergies from initiatives over time. If the project advances smoothly, the level of realized synergies grows over time until all expected synergies from initiatives have been captured. The synergy realization rate is also determined by the fraction of achievable synergies captured. Poor work quality and/or resistance to implement initiatives can reduce the amount of synergies extracted from the project. Also, some synergies initially believed to be achievable are inevitably discovered to be illusory. This leads to the discovery of unachievable synergies. For example, managers may abandon a synergy initiative if it becomes too costly or there is too much resistance to the required changes. In such cases, the expected cost savings or revenue enhancements are considered unachievable. As the integration progresses, realizing the synergies leads to changes in organizational structure, systems, and processes. As the perceived amount of change increases, employee engagement declines, reducing the fraction of achievable synergies captured, decreasing the synergy realization rate, and ultimately decreasing the perceived amount of change. These relationships close the change is hard balancing feedback loop. Throughout the project, management continuously compares realized synergies and expected synergies with target synergies. When there is a synergy shortfall, for example, due to the discovery of unachievable synergies, management exerts pressure to generate new synergies to eliminate this shortfall. As the new synergies generation rate increases, the stock of expected synergies from initiatives increases, and over time, the stock of realized synergies increases. This process forms the achieving target balancing loop and continues to operate until the integration project achieves the target synergies. Generating new synergy initiatives draws from the stock of untapped potential synergies and closes the finding more balancing feedback loop that can operate until there are no more untapped potential synergies left. However, generating new synergies often means additional changes for staff, and this perception of new changes looming increases uncertainty. Increasing uncertainty decreases employee engagement, which reduces the fraction of achievable synergies and ripples through the system to ultimately lead to even more new changes looming. This process closes a reinforcing loop labeled no end to changes, which can act as a vicious reinforcing spiral. Low engagement also leads to increased employee turnover. Often, the most talented and capable people leave first, and this decreases the average capability level, which reduces the fraction of achievable synergies captured and reverberates through the system to ultimately further undermine employee engagement and increase voluntary turnover. This process closes another reinforcing loop labeled talent drain that can act as a vicious reinforcing spiral. As more people leave the organization, the more uncertain the environment becomes for the remaining employees. This additional uncertainty undermines engagement and leads to further employee departures. These relationships close the rising anxiety reinforcing loop. The continuous generation of new synergies and the perception of new changes ahead also eventually increase staff fatigue related to the integration. Over time, employees tire of extracting more synergies and from coping with never-ending changes. As a consequence, exhausted employees depart the organization and increase voluntary turnover. The effects ripple through the system and ultimately increase integration fatigue even further, and form another reinforcing loop labeled escaping the treadmill. Rising integration fatigue also decreases the integration project productivity. Fatigue decreases the pace of work and reduces the integration progress rate. The effects cascade through the system, creating another reinforcing loop labeled burnout. In yet another feedback process, the synergy reversal rate can erode the stock of realized synergies already achieved from the project. This synergy reversal process forms a balancing loop labeled synergy creep. Costs removed earlier in the project creep back into the business. For example, employees that were made redundant as part of the cost savings initiatives may be replaced with contractors 6 months later. Increasing integration fatigue also reduces effort allocated to monitor and track the synergy initiatives. Declining synergy tracking effectiveness increases the rate of synergy reversal and ripples through the system, forming the low monitoring reinforcing loop. In addition, a sustained synergy shortfall leads to managerial pressure to accelerate synergies, with the intention of increasing the pace of synergy realization. When management applies pressure to accelerate synergies, the integration project productivity increases, and the effects work through the system to feed back and reduce the pressure to accelerate synergies. These relationships form a balancing loop labeled work faster, and do in fact speed up the pace of synergy realization. However, increasing pressure to accelerate synergies also increases integration fatigue due to overworking. Rising integration fatigue erodes integration project productivity and ripples through the system to further increase pressure to accelerate synergies. This process forms a reinforcing loop labeled stress builds. Overall, the causal loop diagram includes multiple balancing and reinforcing loops responsible for driving the evolution of realized synergies over time in M&A integrations. These feedback loops explain a range of different performance outcomes, including integrations that exceed initial synergy expectations and those that destroy significant value.